It's only just started. Right, well, welcome to people joining us on the live stream for this meeting, which Councillor Tom Whip has just remembered to press the button and actually make it go live. So you've missed a part of the meeting, but we're talking about events. The next one, we've currently got the beach on the square. We managed to open the beach early because we've sort of concertinaed the setting up, and we started a little bit earlier on that. It's scheduled to finish on the 23rd of August, which is the Friday before the bank holiday weekend. However, we're looking at a suggestion of extending it for a further week, seeing as how it's been so popular. So pardon? It is. I mean, there will be some marginal extra costs, but they are marginal compared to the whole thing. So I think at this stage we've no idea what the weather's going to be like. If it's going to be lovely, then fantastic. If it's going to be chucking it down, you know, well, perhaps not with the candle, but
Town will have to be.
decision, really. Are we happy to continue it for another week?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's good because I've ordered some banners that say extended to.
Extended to. Further events in 24-25. I think we more or less have these outlined previously. We've certainly been working on them. So 14th of September we've got community picnic up at Ratcliffe Park, largely been organised by the whole group of churches, with us giving some support where necessary, paying for the transport up there and other bits and bats. Anything on that one? Okay. Dodging to the next line of this agenda, request to hold a beer festival in October. We haven't got any details on this, so I don't know whether it's seriously under contemplation, but one of the business owners on the town square has inquired as to whether they could organise an Oktoberfest. So I think the ask would be, could the marquee for the winter events go up a little bit earlier to provide space, and I don't think there's any other ask from the town council. But what's the committee's view, Tom?
I mean, I'd be happy for them to go ahead. I mean, if we're providing the marquee, I think we'd need proof of public liability, adequate risk assessments to us, just as a facilitator, really. But I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be able to use the space.
Okay, I think if we were getting the marquee earlier, any additional costs would have to be met by the organisers. I mean, the stuff that you mentioned, insurance and risk assessments, is pretty standard in terms of, you know, if somebody comes on as a stall order and things like that. But it may be, you know, that we'd have to be a co-organiser in order to benefit from our insurance in terms of the marquee and things like that. So we need to go through all of that. John?
Wouldn't we want them to provide security? We don't want to be sending into chaos, do we? If we're not involved in organising.
Well, I mean, they'd have to provide everything necessary for the event to happen. You know, so if their risk assessment said you've got to have security, yeah. Mick?
I think joint sort of running of it is vital for us. To make sure that it runs on a parallel to the rules and regulations that we put in place for bots. What we don't want is an October event, spoiling our August event, or bringing any sort of impacts locally that might damage it when we try and run it again the following August, or even if we go to a 2-year one, or whatever. I think it's really important that we keep a real tight leash on this to make sure that it's running the exact same vein as we've had the success with bots.
Okay, well, I don't know whether it's a serious runner, because certainly when Joe and I had a conversation with the business owner, we said, we've got this meeting tonight, you know, give us some details. We haven't got any details, so it might be that it's not going to happen anyway, but yeah. Any further comments?
Yeah. Should we get a kickback on it?
Said we can put our own bar in.
That's our
I think we pass on that one. Yeah, John?
Just a further comment. Obviously, we've sort of built up a brand of the sort of quality of events that we've put on in the town square. I think any events of a certain size need to meet our sort of standards of quality and production value.
Jodie?
Because of the events we do, there is always an assumption that anything that happens in the town square we're responsible for.
Yeah.
So if anything goes wrong, we are laying ourselves open to the abuse of the general public because a private business has got it wrong. So,
Which is why it has to be that joint.
yeah, that's why it would have to be done to the same standards.
And we want to do it, then our proposal is X. If it's not for them, then it don't matter.
Okay, I'm looking at people who haven't spoken. Andrew?
I mean, it's just that point that how many people might come forward to want to do a similar thing and then you end up having to commit to so many. It's just thinking where it might go to. It seems an innocent thing that sounds a good idea.
I love the idea, but
It
the
needs
actual...
to meet a certain standard.
Yeah.
But then, how many other people might think, well, we'll have got this as well.
Okay. So, I mean, in principle, are we agreeable? Yes. The caveats are that the production values, the standard throughout needs to be consistent with the other stuff that we do. And there needs to be adequate recompense for any time, effort, expenditure that we put into it. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Don't think we need necessarily to go into the nitty-gritty of all the rest of the winter events, because the programme, certainly beyond Christmas, we've got a contract to do certain events. We've already discussed changing the February event 2025 from the arts and crafts into a Wizarding World event. So, picking up the, don't mention the name, it shall not be named wizard.
Glasses.
Yeah, the boy in glasses. So we've got Switch on in November. We understand Burnley have pinched our concept and we're going to replicate it in Burnley on the same night.
I don't think it affects us.
Yeah, it's far enough away. And
And people in Barnard at times don't drink quite like me. I went to a Sunday, I got sad, it wasn't very comfortable walking through the town centre.
Nice for us to chat over here.
It's awful.
said we would have the Christmas market. We've had confirmation that in conjunction with Bosom Friends, there is going to be a Santa Fun Run on the 15th of December. So the proposal is that we do the 2-dayer again. Last year the weather was terrible, yeah. So without the fun run, I mean the Sunday would have been a complete flop, but with the fun run there were quite a few people around, but it was still chucking it down. So, sorry, Karen.
So Richie said we're any market all the way.
Yeah.
Do just do Sunday, make it bigger.
Put a marker on a job.
Yeah, we only did it on a Sunday and made a really big field with the Santa Fun Run.
I think the justification for the 2-dayer was the cost of setting up and taking down was spread over 2 days, so there was a greater income. The other thing was we had the artisan market who did it with us on the first year, but didn't do it subsequently because they got other events on. So,
We did have to take most of it down on Saturday though, because it couldn't stay up because of the wind
no, I took the roof off because it ruined my phone, didn't it?
and boards.
And boards. Yeah, so
They
the
were
frame,
flying all over shop.
the frame was there. We left the pop-ups up.
Yeah, they were all moved next morning. Some
Yeah.
questions whether they should have been left on.
Yeah. So a question mark as to whether we do a 2-dayer or not. Yeah. I think the difficulty with just the Sunday is that we're up against Skipton.
Oh, wait.
I think they do the is it 3 Sundays?
No,
2.
2.
it's usually the first 2 Sundays in December.
Oh, so that's
Does
the
that-
third.
What?
That's the third.
15th is the 3rd.
Yeah, so we might be all right. I couldn't find out.
Yeah, let's make some
Might have
plans.
a look.
Yeah.
I looked at it online, but I didn't know the
I don't
digits.
think there is all, but I know some councils.
Okay. Just casting further forward, going on from over the winter, one of the ideas that we've had following the Kite Festival for next summer is that we develop that and don't just have a kite festival, but have perhaps a family fun day down at Victory Park. And if we don't have the kites taking up the whole of the 2 football pitches area, there's a lot more scope to put stuff into that otherwise we just can't accommodate because we don't have the space. So, the committee's views on that?
Sounds like a good idea.
And so we don't clash with Carlton. We'd have to move it, or school holidays, we could move it to the 5th of July.
Previously, this last year and the year before, it's been determined by the availability of the kite flyers.
Yeah.
Now, if we divorce it from kites, we've got more flexibility with the dates. I mean, although it's been really busy and it was a success this year, having it the first day for most school children's school holidays, I don't think it's ideal timing. It'd be better having it earlier.
It was well busy. Spent it.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice atmosphere.
If I'm probably missing something, if we are integrating the fun day into the kite festival,
No,
No.
kites are.
No kites, just a
no kites.
No,
Last
no.
2 years, we've got a week.
Yeah, so the kites take up all that big
Yeah, yeah.
space, which if you take the kite element out,
Yeah,
you've got a lot of space to go at.
but have you got the same draw? I
Um,
mean, I know it's been Duff 2 years running and it was ill and the weather again, but that's what people go for, is it?
Collins Family Fun Day is packed,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and there isn't any kind of branding.
So,
Like a gala day then? Is there a procession?
no, it's separate to the gala in Colne. Callum, you're muttering.
Do you mean Colne? Colne's two separate events. The gala's
Yeah.
run regularly,
Yeah.
Okay.
and the Family Fun Day was on the same day as the football was this year, whenever that was.
So you've got the opportunity to put loads of stuff in that doesn't necessarily cost a lot of money. Like you could have a dog show, which was popular when we've done it at
Valley Garden.
Valley Gardens.
An actual duck run to go with the duck runs.
A duck run. Well, that's getting into money. We used to do duck herding. Where the dogs herded the ducks. We've done it on Times Square and done it down Richard Park. But those activities do tend to come at a cost, so we'd have to look at what was possible. So, committees assent or not?
Yeah.
Well, moving, shifted. Yeah. I think we would need to get the approval of the full council, because if we start planning events for next financial year, we are within our budget because it's somewhat beyond the scope. So I think we put it as a recommendation. Yeah. Tom?
Just further on events, Skipton do a sheep day. I don't suggest doing a sheep day. But I do wonder about developing an event that does involve farming community. I wonder if we could reach out to, I don't know, is there a Young Farmers Association around these parts?
You don't want them involved in us.
Yeah, no bonfires.
Drinking.
I want to go to stakeholders, whatever, and farmers will
Right. Meeting seems to have descended into chaos at the mention of young farmers.
Just a
So-
question. Joy's not keen.
Leave them in Clitheroe.
I've seen things.
Okay, well, I mean, if any young farmers want to come forward and suggest items, we'll be more than happy to consider them. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. A suggestion Joe had was whether we could do a car boot in Victory
Oh
Park.
yeah, I do car boot at weekend, not an experience.
So you change your mind now?
Possible.
Okay.
Sorry, just going back to Tom's farming thing, one of the things that is quite successful are the tractor runs.
Yeah.
Mm.
So on the evening we could maybe invite them to sort of set off from the park after the event and then go and do a local run from there.
Okay.
Does chaos with all the traffic?
Costs us nothing, does it, to put it on? They don't need to close the roads or...
They have a thing at the end of it, skips and tractor run. There's like a play on auction bar, there's like a night out at the end of it.
Could do what they want away from it, can't they? If they want to set off roads, and send it to the family fund.
There's a Joshua thing.
Yeah.
Then where that was a vintage Massey Fergie.
Massive
Well, that's a start. Kelbrook already do one. I'm always a bit leery about, sort of treading other people's toes. So I wouldn't want us to, swamp their tractor and all like that. Geordie?
No.
Is
No, right,
Chris?
As Kelbrook is very close to us, is there anything we could do to bolt on with their tractor run? A bigger event, whatever. I mean, it is based on vehicles going from one place to another anyway.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just a bit leery of
Wrong time, yeah.
big brother Barley.
Tractor runs in winter, aren't they? Because they light them up.
yeah,
You don't want to be when they're making hay, do you?
no.
No.
They are, aren't
Yeah, they are.
Both, don't they? Barrowman's Barrowford, isn't it?
Don't know any more Skipton.
One in Barrowford, not long, and then they did the charity one at Paythorne a few weeks ago, and for the young lad.
I always think Skipton's missing a trick because you can never get a broom anywhere. While you're watching it.
Okay. I mean, the tractor runs are generally, you know, sort of the volunteer efforts, the raising money for charity. It's probably territory we're not wanting to get into.
Suggestion, be inclusive of our local farming community.
No, Angela.
The answer to this is, why do we never consider the procession that we used to have before, like,
It's
in
not us.
Cornwall? It's not us.
It's never been us.
Is it? Oh, right.
It was the round table.
Yeah, but we just don't.
Going back.
Is it something? I want to say this is I skipped one, and I just thought, talking about the farming community and the drivers, there was such a pride with the drivers getting all the kids on the back and all the businesses getting involved. And you know, you can bring the community together, can't you?
We've skipped to one.
Yeah.
The people that do it, the charities that do it, aren't doing it next year. They've said it's not worth them doing it anymore.
Tom's not doing it anymore.
It's just
One of the councillors has said he'll do it, but he's never organised anything before in his life. So whether or not it even happens next year, but that's what happened with Bar, that they just didn't want to do it anymore, and they disbanded.
Yeah, I mean,
Insurance, isn't it?
the round table, you know, they wound it up because, you know, their membership had dropped and things like that. I think a big issue nowadays is, you know, with the parade thing of it, is on vehicles, is insurances, where I think people struggle.
Well, kids do, can't
So, as a town council, I'd rather
Sorry,
wait.
just an idea.
No. I mean,
I've got nostalgic
Yeah.
memories of it and being
Yeah.
part of it and on things and
yeah, I mean, whenever people say, well, why don't you do a gala? I turn it around and say, well, why don't you do a gala?
It's a lot of work.
I mean, I think the range of events that we do spread over the year adds up to a lot more than a gala.
Yeah.
And,
We could sack all the events now, just do a girl.
and just do a gala, which
Girl and switch on, sorry.
oh, that's it. All right.
You can have remote Sundays with
Yeah,
I'm gonna dress up for us again.
yeah.
anything you want, Johnny.
Absolutely.
So,
all the new weird and wonderful costumes out once.
yeah, in recent years, people have tried to resurrect a gala, and it's never ever come to anything. The last one, which I think had a gala name, was Steve Demain did one, but it was very much a cut down effort, and I'm probably going back 20 odd years, probably even more, 25 years and more.
The sad truth is everybody wants to do it, but nobody wants
No one
to do
wants
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, typically, gala committees have wound up, it ends up with last man standing, and then they fail. So, my view, anyway, is we're better sticking to the stuff that we know and that we know we can do well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
It's
fun.
just that it's how to bring family.
Yeah, but
Fun
the
day,
fun day
isn't it?
suggestion, I think, has a lot of scope to be in the feel of it. It's similar to a gala without a procession.
I think it's getting like, at that time of year, getting schools on board and having like people with games and things and tombolas and the rest of it.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any further suggestions? No? Okay. Well, moving on then. Item 8, it said works in part, and it said to agree a programme of events, but I think Joe must have had a slip of a cough. So it's agree a programme of works for the parks, and there's a separate issue about play areas where we budgeted to carry out refurbishment of the play area, and we have got a proposal which Jo will demonstrate.
Here's one I had earlier. I'm going round the sides, different sides. This is Valley Gardens. I think this is, other than Clough Park, is in the worst state of any of the parks. And off the maintenance schedules and things, this is where we paid to do some work. At the minute we've got thing with 2 towers and the middle of it's blocked off, so kids can't actually play on it. It's not great. So it would give us, I don't think there's much mileage in these, but Tom thought there were. An inclusive roundabout ball type thing, which would replace that blue dolphin that's there at the moment with its nose chewed off. I think there's a shark on or something, a dolphin on that side. That could stay, it's absolutely fine. This house could go on a spare one of these. We've got something that's been taken out in the past and never replaced, so it wouldn't need any extra safety servicing as what's there sufficient because of the fall. And then this area would be a brand new part. The swings, rather than replacing the whole thing, we just replace the chains and seats on them and get the framework painted up, because the framework's absolutely fine. This comes in within budget. There you go.
Okay, can I pass that round and then people can have a... So, I mean, this is the proposal that's come from one playground supplier, and we've got prices from different contractors to install it. Thank you. The contract development in Jordan.
I'd say with what's happened around the park recently in Valley Gardens, actually getting that worse is really good idea, because I think that will instill more confidence into people for using that area.
Joe, is this the same company that do Drive?
No, completely different. Even though the salesman for Avon Drive was lovely, the contractor was dreadful.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Well, the contract manager.
Contract manager, not the people on the ground. It was just, it was an awful person to deal with.
It's just the finish.
The
Yes.
issues.
It's lacking in this actually.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not good. No.
That's what's down there.
No.
Can I bring Callum in?
And it's quite young.
This is young though.
Yeah, and I don't know, and I don't know what the answer is, but the kids that go there, there's just that comment that it's quite young. It's teaching up to like preschoolers and
Well,
more.
the concept when we created the parks, going back donkeys years ago, when they were refurbished, was that we have 2 junior areas, one of which is in Victory Park. So in Victory we've
yeah,
got
it's two.
the junior area, we've got the infant area. Clough Park is intended to be for older kids.
Yeah.
And interestingly, there's been comments that, you know, there should be more for young people, young children on there today. But in terms of Valley Gardens, the idea there was that it was for young children, because we've got Clough Park relatively close, which is for older kids. Colin, you wanted to come in?
Yeah, I agree with Jordan that given what's going on in Valley Gardens after the mess that is left down there from the old gospel mission, that's all been cleared away. Putting this back up probably instill some confidence in people going, because I know there's definitely people out there who probably won't go anywhere near the park because of the fire and the aftermath. Yeah, so because the rest of the Valley Gardens is lovely, and if I remember rightly, I read something about 2 weeks ago. It's won an award.
Green
I think that was it. Yeah, I've seen it shared that it's one of like 6 parks in Pendle to get it. So to give it a bit of love like this, it just brings it up.
Okay, so just taking this in stages, I mean, we have got a number of play areas. As a town council, we said we wanted to, you know, sort of try and tackle them, you know, maybe one a year. Are we content, Valley Gardens, the next one to be done?
Yeah.
Nods of assent, yeah? Okay. In terms of the scheme that's shown on there, and which is before the meeting, Tom, you were making some comments about it, I couldn't quite pick up what you were saying.
The shed thing on the left, I don't think would be too appropriate for the area.
The shed thing on the left.
To have a small enclosed space in an already secluded area such as Valley Gardens, I think just would attract.
It's only quite a small one, that look of it. It's more of a Wendy house. I think you struggle to get four small
I'll see a
tickets
sense
and
of
that.
scale, but yeah.
If you look at the size of the stuff that we've got at Avon Drive, there are enclosed things, but I've got a tall 2-year-old that struggles to get into them. So if that's more of a Wendy house size, I don't think it'd be a big issue.
I just shy away unless I've sort of had a sense of scale, really. It'd be too easy to have someone sat in there of an evening having a joint and setting a fire in it, and just, yeah.
How big is it?
Well, the child's halfway up it, so if the child's this big,
Kind of like that.
It's quite small. It don't look massive.
I'd say the roof is something like that.
I think it's like Wendy house. I expected that to be a lot bigger.
I think that's,
And looking at that in my head, it's a lot smaller. Yeah, my
And if
brain's
you start
shrinking.
cramming there and smoke, we're not going to stop. If they're going to cramming themselves inside the Wendy house, no matter what we put. If we get rid of the
they can
Wendy
sit under
house,
that though.
Yeah.
That works as fine.
they're just going to go underneath the actual apparatus. We're not going to stop
you
them.
have,
This is
you
more
have a lot more
policing.
sight lines on something like that.
We can't not put something in that'll benefit smaller children because of them. That's a
I would say
policing issue
you'd
where
just-
they need to do more patrols.
you wouldn't just get rid of it, you'd find an alternative piece of equipment that would be more suitable for the location, is my suggestion.
Okay.
My house on beach is constantly got kids in it.
But you're surrounded by parents and onlookers.
No, but I meant from an enjoyment point of view.
Yeah.
Because the little people are being punished because of the
Bigger idiots.
I've got to say, my eldest loves that little house on the beach.
men.
That's not us as well.
Other views? If not, said out.
I see the point about some risk, but I can't see it being a big risk. And it is going to be a draw for kids. I would say the attraction outweighs any risk.
I think if it's empty, then it's kind of just for them to go in. There's nothing there for them to sit on and stuff. It's about attracting them away from it rather than not the kids, the older kids.
Yeah.
It looks like there's a small booth. There's a small seat, but I guarantee it's probably going to be about year-wise for small children. Probably like similar to the ledges at the windows.
Okay, who's not contributed? John?
I'm alright with the layout.
Okay, nods. So I Tom general feeling is that it's okay.
Okay. I can just foresee someone finding a dead animal curled up in it at some stage.
All right, okay.
From experience,
Tom, you've had some disturbing experience.
Tom, this is a safe space. Is there anything you'd like to talk about? Was it something traumatic in your childhood? Is it all coming to bed? Looking at a Wendy house? Is there a Wendy house in your dreams?
Is the small animal in the room with us now?
Thank you for Dr. Hurd.
You didn't make it go.
Okay.
Wendy house, which
Right. I think, Tom, the majority opinion is that the playhouse is okay. I was going to pick up on the firefighters bowl because it says fireman's bowl.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe she's got the kitchen sink in it.
Yeah. So, I mean, are we generally content with that design?
Sorry, can I ask just a question?
Angela?
Is the surface the same surface as there is now?
Yeah.
So it's just like an upgrade?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, as you know, there's a problem with the safety surfacing in that it shrinks.
Yeah.
So you end up having to sort of fill it in around the edges and all that sort of stuff.
It's, and that's probably too huge a cost, but as I say, more and more parks are going to like wood chip or something. And just thinking Valley Gardens, because it is such a lovely
Going to what?
wood chip. I don't know, we chatted
There was
about it.
a council who's put a thing on today or yesterday about using bark under play equipment, and they said because it's got to be a certain depth, you're spending something like £4,000 a year replacing it.
Because you have to accept it.
Because it's got to keep
It's just because Valley Gardens has got that
Yeah.
lovely natural sort of setting, and it's this lovely corridor through the town.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it's a huge cost to probably take out what there is and replace it.
The other problem with it is, of course, it's movable. Whereas this kind of surfacing is
You get
Top of the surface, it'll be doing that mulching effect, make it look.
It's just because of the setting.
Yeah.
I think given that we've already got the surface in and to do anything other would be additional cost,
Yeah, I get that.
we stick with it.
Okay, that's what I'm asking, if it's the same
Yeah.
surface.
Okay, are we happy to approve this amended scheme?
I don't think there's been about £3,000. I don't think there's much value in them other than noise. Do you?
Keeps
They're the ones that you've got to hit with the
Yeah, with something that's attached to it. How many times is that thing going to go missing?
Well, once it goes missing, that's it. They'll have to go and find a twig and use
Yeah,
it.
but they'll find like bits of stone and whack it on it and it'll scratch it. What else?
That's why
And
it's
there are
£3
residential houses here.
They're built to be indestructible.
Kids, right, kids.
Yeah, I mean it's at this point that when we had a massive programme of refurbishment, I talk about taking Tom and Lucy around when they were at Tiny Tots, and we checked out play areas and literally used all the equipment and
Went
things
as
like
far as Sheffield.
Rotherham. It wasn't Sheffield, it was Rotherham.
No, it was...
Rotherham.
No, because we went to the Iron Museum.
I'm pretty sure it was Rotherham, but go on. Anyway,
Yeah, have a Wendy house.
we went to the site of the blast furnace, and the visitor attraction was the blast furnace. But adjacent to it, they had this massive, and I'm talking massive acres of play equipment, which included the alien. And when we saw the alien, we said, "Oh yeah, that's what we want down Victory Park." So we got the alien from there, which I think is Rotherham, not Sheffield. But so in his younger life, Tom was a playground assessor, and we checked all these things out. So I would listen to what he's got to say, even though he's 20 years older than what he was.
If we took them out of it, we'd have some budget left. Can we have one of them at Harrison Street as well?
It's another issue, isn't it?
Eh? No, because Harrison Street's got one massive patch that's empty.
But Harrison Street, there may be a question mark as to whether the dentists want it.
Yeah, but it'll move.
Well, yeah.
They won't fit them all.
Right.
Well, yeah, exactly. An old one.
Well,
Right.
take it off my list.
So can we just take a vote agreeing to that scheme? Yeah. Whether or not it includes the musical instruments. Yeah. Maybe we can just check them out.
We need something sensory, I think is my
Finding
There's grass and trees and birds and that's
they're all
totally
burnt down,
full of
aren't they?
sensory stuff.
The
And
party
charcoal.
Joe's just reminded me, in terms of the former Gospel Mission Hall, we've been pushing for the site to get cleaned up and for the remaining parts of the building to get demolished. The contractor was due to start on Monday of this week, failed to turn up. The only thing that arrived over the weekend was a mini digger, and today we've been told that the asbestos removal contractor are held up on another site, and they promised that they will be there next Monday. So, you know, it's going to be the end of the school holidays before they actually get to clearing that rate that we're going. But it is on, you know, programmed to be done, and the Pendle Council will act to remove the asbestos in default if they don't actually turn up next week. Okay, the other part of this item on the agenda, to agree a programme of works for the parks. Earlier this year we were awarded funding from Pendle Council's area committee to do refurbishment work in parks. I mean, not everything, but one of the things that was specifically listed was litter bins, and we need to sort of agree what we're going to include there or not, or come up with a process whereby we actually get on with, you know, whatever we are going to do. The other items that are generally needing to be done, we've got the work in the garage in the pavilion, where there's a ceiling needs to be replaced. It was taken down but left to dry out. There's the door, the garage door, which is one of his favourites. Yeah. Are there any other items that people can think of that we could be tackling? We won't have enough money for it all.
the same immature woodland at Letcliffe Park could do with some. So, as you're coming up the access road, the bit on your far right,
Yeah.
that needs thinning out, a bit of woodland management. That's all from me.
Woodland management. Any other things that people can think of?
Do a couple of the muggers need cleaning out? You know, a bit of a power wash and whatnot, a bit grimy on the floor.
We have bought the paint to redo the goal areas, because it's been done at Salford by our handyman when he's working for them, and it looks completely different. So they could do a power wash, but it's like the white areas that look really rubbish. So they've been power washed at Salford or washed out at Salford and just redone, but everything's downstairs to do. Waiting for some decent weather, but then he had other jobs to do.
We've got all that free.
Yeah, the funding from Pendle was for the parks rather than
funds for
play areas.
Okay.
But that would include Mugger down at Pitch Park. Tom,
Motorcycle barriers on the wheelchair trail.
removal of.
I've got it on the list.
Yeah.
Only problem that there is with that at the minute, there's someone on a bike going around parks on a trail, a motocross with no helmet on. Are we going to encourage us?
a risk you take, I guess.
Well,
If
but
they're already there anyway.
the barriers aren't preventing that.
No, but it's coming through entrance, but he would go out through that end of the park and straight onto a house instead. It's on
Yeah.
the list, Tom.
I think the downside is that these barriers are preventing people in mobility scooters and you know the more sophisticated wheelchairs getting through as well. So pays a money takes your pick sort of thing.
And legitimate bike users as well. The handlebars are too wide.
Right.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got a bit of a list there. Then we can see what we can afford to do out of that, and hopefully make some progress on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Over the page, next item is,
And then it's like tore it in half
I don't know why you told that sign.
I tore it then and I've got some an email thing and I accidentally deleted it, so then I got to ask. Well,
Okay, so West Craven Warriors, they're asking to put a sign upon the pavilion, which it isn't in two parts, it's in one part, which I don't think we'd be averse to. However, the Warriors, their licence for the use of the building is just for when they have matches and when they have training. They don't have exclusive use of the building. We have been approached by another sporting outfit who want to use the pavilion perhaps one evening a week. So, question mark, if there's a big sign saying West Craven Warriors, is that sending the wrong message in terms of that exclusivity? I think, irrespective of the sign, we need to sit down with West Craven Warriors and just hammer out what their use of the building is and is not. Because at the moment, they think it's theirs all the time. In reality, they don't have that exclusivity. Mick?
I think we had this discussion last year, didn't we? Briefly around something else, around the controlling of the pavilion itself. I think it was when we went down to the fire audit, wasn't it? Just to make sure that who's responsible for what when they're using it, sort of thing, and access in and out. I mean, the more people that use it, for me, the better. I think around signage and stuff like that, it's how we control it in terms of size, construction. If it was to be removed, if they decided not to use it, went somewhere else, it could be taken down without causing any issues. Is it a banner rather than a sign? That's,
so people driving to the park, carts at rugby ground and drive back out again.
it is hidden. I must admit, it's hidden. But in terms of signage with banners, I mean, kids climb up on the roof of that thing. I don't know whether that's like it's more appropriate to have a.
Hang on, I've got Tom bringing in
It's more appropriate to have a sort of a dive-on board rather than a banner. I know they're more expensive, but they're kind of two pieces of aluminium together with a soft scent. A lot more wear and harder, and it's durable, lasts a lot longer as well. So I think it's about size, construction, what it's going to be, etc. And whereabouts, if you can putting it on the gable end.
Yeah.
Well, which gable end?
Gable end.
To the
Well, we know
to
who's
the
done it all then.
yeah, to the scare on.
Well, but their entrance is
The other side.
at the other end of the building.
Yeah.
So if you put a sign over the football
Yeah.
changing entrance, what you're saying is this is West Craven Warriors, and it isn't.
I think it's more to be visible, maybe with an arrow showing that that's the ground, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, you can direct that certainly my concerns around size construction of the materials that we're going to use for it.
Tom and then Callum.
I agree with Nick here. And my suggestion was that sort of signage as well. I think if you are going to have signage about the occupiers of the building, I think it should be a town council branded main section with hosts, West Graham Warriors, football club, etc. That makes it clear, who the building is, who it belongs to, and who the users are. Much like how the Raynor Centre has, its occupiers listed on those external. Yeah, something similar to that. I think if there's going to be a banner, it should only be temporary on match days. I don't think we should have a permanent install or something like that.
They have had signage on where the windows are, in the front of the disabled parking, or behind the disabled parking, should we say. Colin?
Similar things to Tom really, if they've not got all-time use on it, obviously if it's a banner you can get those that you put it on something, you twist it so it stays on. We could get some of those fixed on the outside. We agree what size it is and where it's coming from, and then they can put it up on match days, take it down, put it up on training nights, take it down. And if anybody else is using the ground, wants to put a banner up, right, well you're going to get it from here, it needs to be this size, it needs to fit on there. The fixings are there, and then they just get a banner that when it's match days, put it on, they click the thing, twist it, it fits on, and when they're done, they take it down, put it away. Therefore, it's not there for kids to climb on at night, it's not there to get damaged, it's only there when they're using it, and it gives, if you're saying there's other people who want to use it, if they want to put signage up, they can put signage up.
Okay. General view of everybody? My suggestion is that because there's some other things coming into it, that we ask to sit down with them at a meeting and pick this up as part of a wider discussion.
Yeah, because it needs obviously more in depth to it and just better ideas about it.
Yeah. But I mean, Joe's made a note of the points about the different suggestions there. What do you think?
Yeah, if it's going to become shared, then it's only right that we have that conversation anyway, because they're only users of that bit at the moment. We just naturally think it's there, not really just remember throwing it in a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we agreed on that? Yeah. Final item, unless there's any issues that have been put on the chat online. External building maintenance, and this is not thinking of specific issues, but actually setting a process as to how we work out what we need to be doing. And in part, this is prompted by the pavilion at Itch Park needing repainting. So, I don't think it's been repainted since 2008 when it was opened. I can't think I've seen it being painted. So, it's been 16 years, it needs to be done. This building here, you look at the external and there's bits that needs to be sorted out, but that needs a programme of work. So it was really to get the ball rolling on, first of all, like having a 5-year programme. Secondly, probably getting the town council to accept that we're going to have a budget for doing this sort of thing, which we've got budgets that we can use. For instance, the toilet block over there, there's work needs doing on that. We can draw down on the public toilet budget, but I think we need to be more organised. Yeah, about so you know, whether it's a 5-year programme or whatever, I'm not precious, but I just think we need to have that running programme of work, and you know, maybe a starting point is if we get somebody in who's you know, sort of like looks after property, and we say, right, you know, there's other things as well. This is the external stuff, but you know, I'm not going to start talking about electrics. But, yeah, so there's, you know, there's tests that we ought to be doing and things like that. But in terms of the exterior, I mean, we could go around and do it ourselves, say, well, we think, you know, this is top priority, X, Y, Z, or we save ourselves the trouble, actually pay somebody to say what we need to be doing and how frequently we should be doing it.
I agree. We're landlords effectively, aren't we, for the businesses that we charge for using it. It's got to be updated, it's got to be kept, and the general appearance of it, like I say, it's just starting to show a few age-related marks in it, so I think a 5-year programme or something similar is definitely somewhere we should be pushing to.
Tom, then Angela.
I think if you're going to be looking at getting someone in to look at sort of asset management and thinking about it in 5 years, I think we just need to go maybe a bit further than that. I mean, you can get, I don't know, do you call them quantity surveyors? I think that's the right one. But I mean, they'll look at all your assets and draw up a schedule of maintenance for the projected lifespans. You know, if this council expects to own these buildings infinitum, then they can tell you, you know, what statutory inspections you need over how many years,
I'm starting to sort of feel weighed down now. Yeah.
but you can get people in to do that for you, and you just end up with effectively a big spreadsheet that gives you dates for when certain things should be done. And then, you know, it takes out that ad hoc nature. You can effectively project how much you're going to be spending year on year on the works to buildings.
Is that a one-off we're talking about?
Potentially, but obviously, if you have new assets coming in, then that could change. But I think it would be a worthwhile exercise going further than 5 years.
Angela, you
I
were...
think I'm scratching my neck.
No, you were chipping in earlier on.
I don't know on this one. I do need to sit late though.
Oh, right, okay. All right, we've got
She's
to tell you.
tired, she says. I can't
Okay.
need to look.
Right.
Okay.
Chris?
Yeah, and that was just the point. If it is something that needs doing as a, not literally a one-off, but as a main event and then up with updates rather than an ongoing, that sounds very worthwhile. You're right, we should plan ahead further.
Okay.
We do have all the gas safety checks and everything during the
Yeah.
I
But
don't understand
I think it's a bit more of an appraisal of the entire building. So someone might say, well, you've got 25 years left in your roof. So you put that right at the end and then build a schedule of works up for an entire period instead of getting 24 years and 6 months down the line, your roof falls in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then being
I'm
aware.
going to say this isn't something Pendle do. This isn't something Pendle do.
They probably don't.
Well,
but I think we're in a unique position other than Pendle. It's ours in the town, isn't it?
Would it be nice to get on?
I think it sounds like a very expensive exercise.
There's a lot of people about who do that kind of work.
Yeah.
Any construction project, there's a thing called BIM, Building Information Management, and all of this is done before they even build the building. They draw up a schedule of maintenance for the entire lifespan of the asset, up to 100 years. You know, when they expect the roofs to be replaced, etc. Just everything, the electrics, sewer, whatever. So, I mean, a lot of new construction will have all this already built in from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, this has gone a bit beyond what I was initially thinking about, which was more immediate, but I can understand, you know, the desire to have that more long-term look. You know, for instance, a roof replacement, you know, isn't cheap, so if there is a requirement, I mean, probably this building here more than anywhere else, we have worked on.
But it's your preventative maintenance as well to extend the lifespan of those more expensive aspects. You know, and a surveyor might recommend a certain thing to get done every few years, that you get an extra sort of 10, 15, 20 years out of an asset that otherwise we'd have to replace early.
Okay.
And it would help to build it into budgets long term.
Definitely.
I think long term we need to look at more than that though. You look at park maintenance and the rest of it, it's whether or not you take that leap and, you know, bring some of these services in-house. We pay 34 grand a year to have Letcliffe mowed and hedges done. Is it something long term that you think, well, we need a unit, we need equipment, but it's that jump into from being where we suck everything else out to having more staff and the rest of it.
It's a step process, isn't it? You acquire it, run it for a little while, get the understanding of what it is going to cost,
Yeah.
then balance it against potential, like I said, bringing it in and doing it ourselves, or do we continue to subcontract it, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to bring it back to the item on the agenda, which is external building maintenance, because I agree with Joe that, you know, the wider picture is something that we should look at. You know, we have fleetingly sort of looked at it previously as a town council, but, you know, not taking any steps towards that. But, you know, building maintenance, you know, I think we've got a bit of a backlog in terms of, you know, sort of basic external painting, whether there's any, you know, sort of underlying problems that we're not aware of. I don't know. As I said at the outset, we could just go around ourselves and say, well, that needs doing, that needs doing, that needs doing. Or we could get somebody to come and give us a proper evaluation. We don't actually have much of a budget for consultants, so you know, how cost effective this could be, I don't know.
Industry professional rather than consultants. Professional rather than
Professional fees, what we've got for professional fees.
Well, it's
Joe?
gone. You've already, it's gone on auditors.
Right. Yeah, so there isn't actually a budget for that. So it would need to be a recommendation to the full council to, you know, sort of, if we wanted to commission somebody, you know, just to do the, you know, a proper schedule and look at the you know, the deeper, you know, like structural issues.
The risk of getting someone else to do, is it worth sort of looking at it separately and then reporting it as a small room back to full council and see where we want to go from there, rather than just throwing what we've discussed on the table? Maybe trying to get some costs associated with asset surveys or however we want to go down that route. Starting off in a 12-month programme, looking at 5-year one, extensive, 15, 20, whatever. I'm not suggesting we do it, I'm just suggesting putting something together that gives it a little bit more structure. If we're going to try and sell to the full council, what we've discussed today, we don't really know what we want to do at the moment, we don't know what it's going to cost. Might be worth just doing a little bit of background first.
See what's out there.
Okay.
I mean, we can't contacts you've got already in this area?
Sorry?
Have you got any contacts already in this area? Is anybody who I'm involved that could help what you just said to kind of...
I met someone whose son does it full time for a university campus, but no.
It's fancy going to Barnet at the weekend.
I've had a couple of contacts with Lanks who came from county who retired but who might be able to point us in the right direction for stuff when they used to look after their estate in terms of what you might want to consider rather than actually giving us anything.
Yeah.
That's
But I think it's worth giving that, them definitely a bit of a chat and saying, this is where we are, these are our assets, what would you suggest? I know that budgets are massive compared to what we're looking at, but the process is similar to ensure that we don't end up with over 15 years on our asset that we own.
Well, I mean, we've got 5 buildings.
Yeah.
Where we are now, City Hall, we've got the town centre toilets, Vitch Park Pavilion, Leckliffe toilets, and we've got butts. It's not like it's sort of
It's not expensive.
massive estate, is it? It's,
No.
but they do need some work doing on them.
If
Tom.
we're going to appoint someone or a company to do this for us, is it worth maybe asking the town council in the area if they want to do a joint process? Just do an area-wide for all of our assets and obviously share the costs.
Or even if they're doing anything similar, have they considered anything for their
Okay.
assets?
All right. So we're looking at reporting to the next town council meeting. In the meantime, we get a feel for what's possible, and take it from there.
Yeah.
Yeah? Is that okay? Right. Could you have a look, see whether anybody else watched us? Is there anything on the chat? Any questions?
Probably term that we're due to start.
And thought, oh, it's not happening.
Yeah, no one.
Right, okay. Well, can I thank everybody very much for coming along. Wish you a safe journey home and declare the meeting closed. Thank you.